Okay, is answering. No problem. हेलो, आवाज आ रही मेरी? एनीवन कैन एनीवन आंसर और रिएक्ट तो करो भाई कोई. ओके. 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 So I was asking, does anyone know anything about NumPy pandas? कोई काम करे हैं क्या? You can give your answer in the chat or just open your mic and answer. कोई काम करेगा? Anyone? NumPy pandas पे? No. Okay. Okay. तो टुडे हम बहुत बेसिक बेसिक जाएंगे. ओके. बहुत बेसिक बेसिक फंक्शंस रहेंगे. हम NumPy क्यों यूज करते हैं, pandas क्यों यूज करते हैं, we will go through all of that. बहुत सिंपल रहता है ये. एंड बस सिंटैक्स देखना आपको, बस फंक्शंस के नेम, सिंटैक्स एंड एवरीथिंग. बस आपको मालूम चलना है कि फंक्शन करता क्या है और कहाँ पे कौन सी सिचुएशन में उसको यूज करना है. दैट्स ऑल. सो सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द मीटिंग. 5 मिनट हो गए, चलो. शेयर स्क्रीन. कैन एवरीवन सी द स्क्रीन? ओके. तो फर्स्ट इज, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद NumPy. So, can anyone answer what is NumPy, or do you have any vague idea कि करता क्या है NumPy? Anyone? Hello. Okay, no one is answering. Yeah. NumPy is basically used for performing mathematical operations for scientific computing. Arrays पे काम कर सकते हैं NumPy से. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Numeric processing library, yeah, absolutely. तो NumPy basically एक open source library है Python में, which is used for numerical computations, and it deals with NumPy arrays. So anyone, सब लोगों को मालूम होगा what is arrays basically, right? Arrays basically only one data type object को हम store कर सकते हैं arrays में. So NumPy helps in easier computations compared to Python lists. So we can see here, 1 minute. Yeah, so NumPy is a fundamental library for numerical computing in Python, providing powerful n-dimensional array objects and functions for working with them. So हमारे को बस numerical computations जो भी होते हैं उसको easily perform करने के वास्ते we will use NumPy. Next is, I hope everyone is coding along with me. So if you haven't installed NumPy yet, you can install NumPy using this command in your collab session. I hope everyone is coding along with me in their collab sessions. So you can, first of all, you have to install NumPy in your collab session, or what you can do is, which is better option, you can go in your terminal and just write pip install NumPy, and NumPy will be installed. Yeah. So then the first step is importing the NumPy. So we import NumPy to our collab session using this import function, and this as NP. What basically ये क्या है, एक shortcut है basically. If you want to use any functions which are inside NumPy, we can use just NP. So we have to use this shortcut, and we can access all the functions inside NumPy. So we have to run it, and Yeah. So after importing the NumPy, then we'll go to why NumPy is useful. Why do we need it? हमारे को क्यों चाहिए NumPy? क्या यूज मतलब उसका फायदा क्या है NumPy यूज करने का? So whenever you go into machine learning, मेन थिंग इज कि आपको क्या करना है, जो भी आप मॉडल्स क्रिएट करने वाले हो, यू नीड फास्टर एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम एंड लेस स्टोरेज। बेसिकली मतलब कम से कम स्टोरेज लेना और जल्दी जल्दी हो जाना। सो यू कैन कंपेयर numpy arrays to python list. They are very similar, but there are two advantages you could say कि numpy में यूज करते हैं। so first is numpy consumes less time। किसी कंपैरिजन में कंपेयर टू लिस्ट। पाइथन में लिस्ट आप पढ़े होंगे आप लोग। लिस्ट बेसिकली है ना ऑल डिफरेंट डिफरेंट डेटा टाइप्स आप डाल सकते हो लिस्ट के अंदर, पाइथन लिस्ट के अंदर। सो इन दिस सेल यू कैन सी दैट आई एम यूजिंग अ लिस्ट 1 2 3 4 5 एंड आई एम मल्टीप्लाइंग विद 10,000। इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि आई एम this list is being repeated 10,000 times. So 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 10,000 times repeat होगा। So next is start is equal to time dot time। ये basically you don't have to code this, ये बस आपको समझाने का वास्ते है why numpy is better than python list। ये बस समझाने का वास्ते है। So this is time dot time। बेसिकली हम जैसे करंट टाइम बता देगा क्योंकि मतलब टाइम बताने के वास्ते ही है कि कितना टाइम लेता है। Then we are using this for loop and we are passing the length of L। Basically जितना भी इसका लेंथ है which is 10,000 times। This 1 2 3 4 5 is repeating 10,000 times। हम for loop में डाल रहे हैं and inside this for loop we are multiplying each element with 2। You can see L of I is equal to I into 2। So basically I am multiplying each element with 2। So 1 into 2, 2 into 2, 3 into 2, 2 into 4, 2 into 5, and this happens 10,000 times। Okay, so now if we see the time, so this print function is basically used to get the time। So if we see this, we can see that the time taken by a list is 0.039 seconds। Okay, so this is the time taken by the list, okay, to print this amount of elements। Okay, now let's go to numpy, why it is better, why it is fast। Okay, now we are using the same list 10,000 times, and now what we are doing is we are creating a numpy array। We can see here that I'm using this np। np basically क्या है, जो हम यहाँ पे ऊपर alias use कर रहे थे हम यहाँ पे shortcut। Basically we have used this np here and dot array। So basically whenever you need to create an numpy array, आपको ये np dot array function use करना है। एंड इसके अंदर जो भी आपकी पाइथन लिस्ट है विच इज दिस, जो भी आपका लिस्ट है आपको बस पास कर देना इसके अंदर। सो दिस इसके इसके वजह से क्या होगा, numpy array क्रिएट हो जाएगा एंड दिस विल बी स्टोर्ड इन दिस num वेरिएबल। देन सेम आई हैव यूज्ड द स्टार्ट इज इक्वल टू टाइम डॉट टाइम फॉर कैलकुलेशन ऑफ टाइम। एंड यू कैन सी वन थिंग कि इधर मैंने आई एम नॉट यूजिंग अ फॉर लूप। In the above cell, you can see that I'm using a for loop for Python list, but in this numpy array, I'm directly multiplying with 2. See, num into 2. Basically, num is basically containing the numpy array, so I'm directly multiplying it with 2. So I don't have to use for loop in numpy array। So हमारा टाइम भी बचा actually। Anyone doubts अभी तक कोई भी? Hello, anyone any doubts till now? कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा? You can uh, put your questions in the chat।
जो into two था, it works different for list and different for a numpy array. That's supposed to be a
No, yeah, you are multiplying with 2, but uh, for doing this in list, you have to multiply it with each and every element, right? So you have to use a for loop for multiplying the 2 with every element. You have to use for loop in list, but in numpy you don't have to use a for loop. You can directly multiply it।
Okay, so what if we want to, copy the array multiple times, like how we did for L123 into uh, 1E5.
Okay.
That's something different.
I'm not able to understand. What was the question again?
See, in the first line, we are multiplying into 1E5, right?
Yeah, okay.
What if we want to do the same, but with the num array, which is the numpy array?
Okay. Uh, you can't, I don't think you can actually do it. You can only perform if you're asking that I perform this operation like 10,000 times, same to the numpy array. I don't think you can do it because it is only specific to lists, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So now if we check the time, now you can see this. I'm using the same time start function. So basically calculate the time taken by the numpy array. So if we uh, see this, the time taken by a list is 0.0005 seconds. So it is way, way lesser than the time taken by a Python list. You could see the time taken by a list is 0.039 seconds to perform the same operation. To perform the same operation, but NumPy array is taken 0.0005 seconds. So it's way much faster. Okay. So now the next is why it's NumPy array is better. The next is it consumes less memory compared to Python list. So I'm importing a system a library, then I'm using a list, basic list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm passing this list into np.array. So I'm creating a NumPy array basically. With the help of np.array, I'm creating an array. So this list or a variable has been changed into a NumPy array. So I'm using the system.get size of a. I'm getting the size of the list, and I'm also getting the size of NumPy array. So if you see it, the size of the list is 104 bytes. So it's always in bytes. And the same NumPy array is taking 40 bytes. So it consumes very less memory compared to Python lists. So that's why we prefer NumPy arrays over Python lists. And it also has many inbuilt functions that we can't do it on lists. So the next thing is how to create a NumPy array. As we have seen above in here, we use np.array function to create a NumPy array basically. 1 minute. Okay. So yeah, we use np.array function to basically create a NumPy array. You just have to inside this function parenthesis, you just have to pass on this list, any list you want. जो भी आपको लिस्ट चाहिए आप इस parenthesis के अंदर डाल दो np.array के, then just if you just print in, you will get the NumPy array. And if you want to see ki, is it still a list or a NumPy array, you can use it through this type of n function. You can see that ये जो है it's now a NumPy array, and if we see it's written that numpy.nd array. So this normal list has been converted into a NumPy array. That's how we create an array. Okay. So the next is dimensions and shape of the array. So I'm using this np.array function again. I'm passing a list, and I'm using this endim function. First of all, let's comment this out. Okay. Now, so let's start with this. Okay. So in NumPy arrays, we have dimensions. Okay. So basically, dimensions means 1D, 2D, 3D. We can have any amount of dimensions here. It all goes to how many square brackets you have. Since we can see it here, we have only one square brackets. So if you see the output once, you will see that the dimension of this NumPy array is 1. So if we change it and put another square bracket here, you will get, we have 2 dimension. It's a 2-dimensional NumPy array. If you keep increasing this square brackets, you can keep increasing your dimensions. So it can be anything. Okay. Now, if you want to check the shape, what do you mean by shape? Shape basically tells key how many elements are there in your numpy array. I'm coming this out, and now if you see, it's not the output of ending, it is actually the output of end dot shape. I'll comment this out now. Okay. Now, the shape I'm getting of this numpy array is 1, 1, 4. So what does this actually mean? इसका मतलब क्या है बेसिकली जो बाहर की लिस्ट है बड़ी वाली, this list contains another list. One list contain another list, which is this one. So ये पूरी list को it is considering as one. Now in the second brackets you can see this whole ये पूरे को it is considering as one element. Now in the last list we can see that we have 4 elements. So yeah, तो ये 4 हुआ. तो एक बड़ी लिस्ट के अंदर एक और एक लिस्ट है which is one element, it is considering it as one element. एक और एक लिस्ट के अंदर we have another element, and last में we have 1 2 3 4 which is the 4 elements in there. So basically आपको ये बताता है n dot shape. Any doubts anyone? Hello, anyone? Any doubts? Or you can react. Yeah. Okay. Okay, nice. Okay, next we are diving into inbuilt functions. NumPy has many inbuilt functions in it. That's why we prefer it over Python list, because इसके अंदर इतने functions हैं कि हमारे को मतलब उतना लिखने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. अब if we are using a list, हमारे को for loop, while loop, we have to do many operations. But in NumPy we can directly use inbuilt functions which are already present in the library, जिससे हम easily क्या बोलते हैं computations कर सकते हैं easily. So first one is range function. So what does this do is, first of all, let's see कि एक normal list में, if I want to, let's say, print 10 elements, if I want to print 10 elements in a normal list, first what I am doing is I am initializing a simple empty list. L is equal to open brackets, basically मतलब it's an empty list, and I'm using a for loop from 1 to 10. And as we know that this 10 is never included, so this 10 is never included. The final value, the stop value कभी भी include नहीं होता. Okay. Then in this for loop, I'm appending each and every element in this 1 to 10. So I'm appending 1 to 10 in this empty list L. जो भी ये L है इसके अंदर मैं append कर रहा हूँ एक element, iterate कर रहा हूँ. Okay. Then if I just print it, you can see that I got a list which is starting from 1 to 9. Okay. It's not in, it's always before 10. Okay. जो भी stopping value है उससे एक value पहले तक जाएगा list. Okay. अब ये normal list के वास्ते है. We are using a for loop for here. Now, instead of using a for loop, we can use the arange function. Basically क्या कहता है ये np.arange function. We have to always use np. कहीं भी अगर आपको numpy का कोई भी inbuilt function को अगर आपको access करना है, you have to use this alias np, और आपकी मर्जी, you can change it to anything. ठीक है. And just shortcut के वास्ते है. Okay. np.arange. So I'm getting the arange function from the numpy library. अब इस arange function के अंदर what is this? So I have written here start, stop and step size. Basically मेरे को अपना numpy array कहाँ से शुरू करना है, which is 1, कहाँ तक जाना है, which is 10, and this step size is basically, I will tell you 1 minute. If I just remove it, okay. Now if I just print it, you can see that I got a numpy array starting from 1, which is here, and till 9. It will not include 10. So very similar to this, but we are here using a range function. Now what is the step size? Basically कितना चाहते हैं आप, step size कितना होना चाहिए, difference कितना होना चाहिए आपके list, आपके नंबर array के बीच में. So if I just write 2, so you can see that I got 13579. So the difference is 2 between these two numbers. Always the difference will be 2. Two consecutive numbers के बीच में difference 2 होगा until the stop value. Until 10 or 2 to division में it will give you the number array. Okay. So this is all about arange function. Then we'll get into linspace function. Now very similar to arange, linspace क्या करता है basically? Basically आपको equal number of values देगा. Just let's say I want an numpy array starting from 1 till 2, and I want numbers 10 numbers between 1 and 2. मतलब 10 number of values होने मेरे को equal numbers में 1 and 2 के बीच में. So if I print it, you can see that when 1 and 2 के बीच में there are 10 values and these are all equally distributed. You can play around. Let's say if I just say 1 5 and I want 5 divisions, you can see that I want numbers from 1 to 5, but I want 5 divisions or 5 number of values between 1 to 5. So it will equally divide the numpy array 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. Next, we are getting into zeros, ones, and full functions. Very simple. np dot zeros. What is ये क्या करता है? np dot zeros functions basically what does it? हम आपको क्या करेगा ये एक 3,8. So जो आप देख रहे हैं अंदर, which is this. Basically, I want 3 rows and 8 columns of zeros. Just मेरे को क्या होना है बस zeros. This zeros function क्या करता है? Basically आपको 3 rows और 8 columns का सिर्फ zeros भर के दे देगा numpy array में. If you see this, I got 3 rows and 8 columns of only zeros. तो इसके वास्ते यूज करता है. You can see the syntax here. Rows comma columns. You can change it to anything. बस np.zeros में it will only fill it with zeros. I want 3 rows and 1 column. I got only zeros. Now, similar to zeros, very similar to zeros, we have ones. क्या करता है basically? Very similar to zero, बस zero के बजाय 1 डाल देना बस. See, I want 3 rows and 9 columns of only 1. So it will just fill it with that. Okay. If you don't want zeros or ones, we have another function which is full. Full क्या करता है basically? Very, it is also similar to zeros and one, but आपके मनपसंद या फिर आपका कस्टम नंबर को फिल कर देगा. So in this np.full function, we can see here, I am giving it 3,9. I want 3 rows and 9 columns, but comma डालने के बाद मैंने I have written 22, which means that I want 22 to be filled. If I just remove this and write any number, it will give that. So custom made अपना numpy array के वास्ते है. Anyone, any doubts till now? Any questions? Anyone? Hello. Okay. Okay. So no doubts till now. Anyone? कोई doubts नहीं अभी तक? Okay. Okay. Now next है हमारे पास random function. 1 minute. Next we have random functions. So random functions क्या करते हैं basically? It's a library in Python which basically gives you random numbers. Okay. So we are using this np.random.rand. So this is a library in Python, separate library in Python in order to get us random numbers. So अगर आपको कोई भी random numbers generate करना है anywhere, you have to use this random function, and inside this random we have this rand function. Okay. Now what is this 2,5? It basically, I'm telling that I want 2 rows and 5 columns of random numbers. Okay. I'm just want 2 rows and 5 columns of random numbers, and please make sure that this random numbers or this rand function always gives random numbers between 0 and 1. It won't give you any random numbers. It will only give you random numbers between 0 and 1. So if we see the output, we can see that I'm getting 2 rows and 5 columns of random numbers between 0 and 1. So if you run it again, let's say we have the first value 0.590. If you run it again, you will get 0.72. So randomly, if you run it multiple times, you will get random values. Now, next is random.randint. So similar to .rand, but instead of giving random values between 0 and 1, ये क्या करता है बेसिकली आपके मनपसंद आपके नंबर्स के आपके दो नंबर्स के बीच में रैंडम नंबर्स देगा सर दिस रैंडम फंक्शन व्हाट इट डज इज आई वांट रैंडम नंबर्स बिटवीन 1 and 100 मेरे को 1 and 100 के बीच में रैंडम नंबर्स चाहिए एंड size declare कर देना बस next is size is equal to 2 comma and 2 rows and 3 columns of random integers actually rand int का मतलब क्या है I want random integers okay so I want 1 comma 100 I want random numbers between 1 and 100 in a format of 2 rows and 3 columns so if you execute this you can see that I got 2 rows and 3 columns of random numbers so if you run it again you will get a different result okay every time you execute you will get random numbers in each execution okay now next is arithmetic operations okay. Next is arithmetic operations in arithmetic operations as everyone knows क्या क्या रहता है arithmetic operations में we have addition we have subtraction multiplication division modulus and everything so I'm first of all I'm initializing two arrays and to it array एक array बना दिया मैंने and next array this दो arrays create कर लिया मैंने and now I'm performing multiple arithmetic operations on these two arrays so you just have to use a plus b a a means this one this array and b means this array okay so basically हमारे को a plus b a minus b अब directly you can perform any amount of calculations or mathematical computations between these two arrays directly okay so if you just run it yeah so you can see that or make sure that ये हमेशा corresponding numbers को add and multiply जो भी आप perform करेंगे operations it will only be reflected on these corresponding numbers okay 2 into 8 5 into 7 9 into 5 so ऐसे होगा ये पूरा जो भी इसका corresponding number है उसके through ही होगा ये you can see that subtraction ऐसा हो रहा है multiplication is 2 8 is 16 5 7 is 35 this integer division is basically uh, integer division basically means double slashes basically मतलब का remainder क्या बच रहा है actually if you are dividing your numbers what's the remainder okay if you divide 8 by 2 you will get remainder 0 so I got 0 if you do it with that yeah uh, then we have universal functions so first let's 1 minute let's execute this and now and in numpy we have many universal functions also let's say first one is square root function which is np.sqrt so if I want uh, my elements to be square root okay if I want the square root of every element in this numpy array I can directly use this np.sqrt function and simply pass on my array ठीक है जो भी अपना array है simply I'll pass this on to np.sqrt and you can see here that the square root of 1 is 1 square root of 4 is 2 square root of 9 is 3 so automatically it will give the square root result of every number in your list sorry in your numpy array now next is square function similar to square root np.square function क्या करता है basically जितने भी elements हैं आपके numpy array में it will basically square it so 4 का square 16 9 का square 81 16 to 56 you can experiment it on you can do anything now next is exponential function np.exp ये क्या करता है np.exp and you can see that 1 minute you can see that 1 2 3 4 5 6 what is this तो मैं बोलूंगा इसके अंदर हम क्या करना चाह रहे हैं बेसिकली everyone knows here right e power 1 e power 2 Euler's number so if I want the value of e power anything e power so anything e power मैं यहाँ पे pass on कर सकता हूँ basically so I want e power 1 which is 2.7 I think 2.7 it's a constant value everyone knows I think so if I want e power 1, I will have to pass 1. Or if I want e power 2, e power 3, e power 6. So to get exponential values, I'm using that np.exp function. द नेक्स्ट इज साइन फंक्शन. साइन फंक्शन बेसिकली क्या करता है, इफ यू पास ऑन योर एंगल्स, लेट्स से 0 और np डॉट पाई. सो np डॉट पाई इज बेसिकली क्या करता है आपको, जो पाई की वैल्यू है which is you can see it 3.14, it will give you, it will represent that. np dot pi का मतलब you can directly use pi. np dot pi by 2 is pi by 2. Now you can see that I'm using that np dot sign and I am passing this numpy array into this np dot sign function. And if I see the output, you can see that exp का हमारे पास e power 1 which is 2.71, e power 2 7.38, and in this angles you can see that 0.00, sine of 0. If basically we are applying sine function on each and every element in this, sine of 0, sine of pi, or sine of pi by 2. So we'll get this like result. uh, are you following? Anyone कोई doubts है? Hello, anyone, कोई doubts? Anyone? Okay, no doubts. Okay, okay. Now the next is multidimensional slicing. Okay, slicing is a very, very important part in NumPy. Slicing, can anyone tell me what do you mean by slicing? Can कोई भी बोल सकता है slicing का मतलब क्या है? Hello, can anyone tell me कि slicing का मतलब क्या है? Slicing क्या रहता? Hello, yeah. अगर आपको अपने एरे में कोई भी पार्ट होना है, लेट्स से अ स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ अ होल, यू जस्ट वांट अ पार्ट ऑफ अ होल, तो यू कैन यूज स्लाइसिंग. सो मेरे को पूरे एरे की जरूरत नहीं है. इफ आई वांट जस्ट अ सर्टेन पार्ट ऑफ माय बिगर एरे, सो मेरे को वी हैव टू डू स्लाइसिंग. So first of all, I'm using nport array function, and I'm creating this multi-dimensional array. Since there are two brackets here, it's a multi-dimensional array, which means it has both rows and columns. Okay. So now if I just print it, okay. Now in order to क्या बोलते हैं, in order to slice the array, this is the method. You just have to uh, write the name of the your numpy array matrix, use the square brackets, and now this first one, this इसका मतलब क्या है, this इसका मतलब starting index, मेरे को कहाँ से slice करना है. ये जो numpy array है, multi dimensional numpy array, where do I have to slice, वो start कहाँ से करना है slicing. And make sure that कि हमेशा index starts from 0. So if I want 0th row, so it will be 1 2 3. 0th row मतलब 1 2 3 होगा. First row मेरा इस numpy array में is 4 5 6, and my second row is 7 8 9. So indexing always starts from 0. ठीक है. अगर मैं पूछूं which is the 0th row, तो 1 2 3 is the 0th row. ये पहला हमारा 0th row है. And if similar to rows, column भी हमेशा 0 index से start होगा. If I want 0th index, 0th column actually, so it will be 147. So this 147 is my 0th column. My first index column will be 258, and my second index column will be 360. So that's the thing to remember. Okay. So मैं चाहता हूँ this 0:1. What does this mean? That मेरे को 0th row से first row तक, I want 0th row से first row तक मेरे को अपना slicing करना है. I want 0th row मतलब 1 2 3. This is the 0th row. And कहाँ तक जाना है मेरे को? 1 तक. 1 मतलब 4 5 6. This one, जो 4 5 6 रो है, इसको हम ये बोलेंगे. And make sure that ये 1 कभी भी इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे हम इसके अंदर. तो मतलब इसका मतलब क्या है कि 4 5 6, this 4 5 6 will not be included. ठीक है. Now कॉमा डालने के बाद जो 0:2 है, ये बेसिकली कॉलम्स के वास्ते कि मेरे को 1 2 3 होना है. दिस 1 2 3 रो, एंड कॉलम कौन सा होना है मेरे को. सो इफ यू सी दिस 0:2, उसका मतलब क्या है, आई वांट द 0th कॉलम. कोई बोल सकता है एनीवन कि इसमें से जीरोथ कॉलम कौन सा है? जीरो इंडेक्स कॉलम
147.
Yeah. So 147 is the zeroth column. Then यहाँ पे मैंने डाल रखा है 2. I want the columns from zeroth index to the second index. But this second index 369 is 147 is the zeroth index, 258 is the first index, and 369 is the second index. So 369 तक होना है, लेकिन this 369 index, this 369 column will never be included. Okay, so that means if you just print it, you will get only 1 and 2. Why? क्योंकि मैंने 0 which is यहाँ तक हम स्लाइस कर दिए, यहाँ तक हम स्लाइस कर दिए 1 2 3. देन कॉलम में कौन सा होना मेरे को? आई जस्ट वांट द फर्स्ट टू कॉलम्स व्हिच इज 147 एंड 258. सो पहले से ही स्लाइस होगा था इतना. देन कॉलम वाइज करेंगे तो हम जस्ट वी विल गेट द रिजल्ट ऑफ 1 2. You can do anything here. Let's say if I want till 3. So what will that we can see here. So 0 colon 3 इसका मतलब क्या है? I want the zeroth row which is 1 2 3, the first row which is 4 5 6, and also the second row 7 8 9, but not the third row because they are not. Third row है ही नहीं इसका, third index row है ही नहीं. So basically इसका मतलब क्या है? I am accessing all rows 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, पूरे rows को मैं access कर रहा हूँ. And column wise I just want the first two columns, the zeroth column which is 147 and the first column 258. You can perform any operations. अब अगर ये 3 करेंगे तो आपको पूरा मैट्रिक्स ही मिल जाएगा. I want all 3 rows and all 3 columns. You can do anything. Okay, if I just see 2, yeah, so you will only get 7 8 9, which means कि मेरे को only 2 आना है. Second मतलब second index row which is the 7 8 9. So you can perform any amount of slicing with the help of this. And yeah, so कोई doubts anyone? कुछ समझ में नहीं आया, कंफ्यूजिंग दिख रहा है ये वाला पार्ट? हेलो, एनी डाउट्स? कंफ्यूज हो रहे क्या इसमें कोई? कैसे क्या क्या इंक्लूड होना है, कैसे करते हैं स्लाइसिंग? एनीवन? कोई डाउट? नो? ओके ओके. नो डाउट्स आई गेस. समझ में आ रहा है एनीवन? सबको समझ में आ रहा है? यू कैन रिएक्ट. ओके, समझ में आ रहा है. ओके ओके, नाइस. Let's continue. So this is how we slice. Okay, slicing part हो गया है actually. Now we have another function which is np.take function. So ये क्या करता है? It is a built-in function for indexing and slicing. और अगर हम ये मेथड यूज करेंगे, we will only get the result. हमको इंडेक्स नहीं मिलेगा actually. So if we use this np.take, if you can see I'm initializing in a simple numpy array, and I am using this index variable and I'm passing this 0 to 4. इसका मतलब क्या है? I want elements which are at position 0 2 and 4. So ये numpy array में I want elements जिसका position 0 2 and 4. So I have created this and I have used np.take. np.take function में you have to put 2 parameters. फर्स्ट वन इज योर ओरिजिनल एरे जो आपने क्रिएट करा है, जहाँ पे आपको इंडेक्स चाहिए जिसका. और नेक्स्ट इज द इंडेक्स, कि कौन से इंडेक्स आपको एक्सेस करना है. सो इफ यू जस्ट प्रिंट इट, यू कैन सी दैट एट जीरोथ इंडेक्स पे वी हैव द एलिमेंट 23, एंड एट सेकंड इंडेक्स वी हैव 6 0 1 2. सो एट सेकंड इंडेक्स वी हैव दिस एलिमेंट 6. You can put any number of indexes, you can get a result. Now, next is iterating with nditer function. Next function is nditer. I'm again using a simple NumPy list, sorry, NumPy array. It's a two-dimensional array. You can see that it's there are two square brackets here and there, so you can see that it's a two-dimensional array. And if you want to iterate over every element in your NumPy array, so you have to use a for loop and use this function nb.nd item. So if you want to iterate over every element, जो भी आपको iterate करना है every element, you have to use this np.nd item function and just simply pass on your array, and you will see that you get the whole 1 2 3 4 5 6 जितने भी elements है आपको print होकर आ जाएंगे. And make sure in mind that ये जो दो lists हैं that I'm passing here 1 2 3 4 5 6, basically it should be of same number. अगर आप एक भी mismatch कर देंगे इधर, let's say it has 5 elements and it has 4 elements, you will simply get an error. Okay, let's setting an array element with a sequence. The requisite array has an inhomogeneous shape. Inhomogeneous shape का मतलब क्या है? Always your numpy array should be in homogeneous form. Homogeneous मतलब equal number of elements होने चाहिए. So you can see here 1 2 3 4, there are 5 elements in this and there are 4 elements in this. So you will get an error because it is inhomogeneous. So if I just add any element here, so it has become homogeneous 5 5 with equal amount of elements. You just enter, you will get the result 1 2 3 3. All of the elements will be printed. Okay, so make sure in mind कि ये हमेशा इसके अंदर homogeneous elements होना चाहिए, मतलब equal number of elements होना चाहिए. Now we have nd enumerate function, very similar to this nd iter function, but इसके अंदर क्या है? It also gives you the index. Here in this nd iter function, it will just give you all the elements. Okay, but in this nd enumerate function, it will give you all the elements along with their index values. So you can see that we have this array 1 2 3 4 5 6. We have this multi-dimensional array, and I am using for int comma x. I am using two variables here, in index for index and also for all the elements in this numpy array, which is x. So I'm using two variables for both. Since in this enumerate function, I want index as well as the elements. So I'm using these two variables here. In np.endenumerate, use endenumerate function and simply pass on your numpy array in this function. And now if we print these two variables, which is index and x, you will see that the index and also the element. So this means that at 0 comma 0 index, I have the element 1. At 1 comma 0, I have the element 4. So 0 comma 0 is the first element basically in this numpy array. So 0 at 0th row and 0th column, we have element 1. At the first row and at the 0th column, I have 4. So any doubts? समझ में नहीं आया anyone? This nd iter and nd enumerate functions. Anyone? Okay, no one is reacting. मतलब no doubts, I think. Hello, anyone? If you are okay, then please react thumbs up or any. Okay, 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 no doubts. So next is we have aggregate functions. We have aggregate functions. Uh, we have many aggregate functions in NumPy. Let's say we have sum, min, max, mean, and median. So if I just use this same, I'm using the same on NumPy array here also. So first aggregate function is np.sum. So very simple. जितने भी आपके elements हैं आपके NumPy array में, it will just give you the sum of every element, sum of all the elements. It will just give you the sum of all elements in. So NumPy array हमारा ये है. So basically np.sum क्या करेगा? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. So it will just give you sum of all the elements. Okay, so this is np dot sum. Np dot mean is basically it will give you only one element, which is the smallest. Simple. जो भी एलिमेंट्स हैं आपके इतने सारे, उसमें से जिसका जो भी मिनिमम एलिमेंट है, जिस द लीस्ट एलिमेंट विच इज वन हियर, इट विल गिव यू दैट आउटपुट. वेरी सिमिलर टू मिन मैक्स है हमारे पास. जितने भी एलिमेंट्स है, जो भी आपका मैक्सिमम नंबर है, अगर मैक्सिमम वैल्यू है, फिर बेसिकली प्रिंट दैट. देन वी हैव मीन. Mean, everyone knows that if you just add all the numbers and divide by the total numbers, you will get the mean. And median is the middlemost value. Middlemost value of all of this. Okay, the middlemost value of we have 6 elements, so middlemost value will be between 3 and 4. Okay, so if I just print it, you can see that the sum of all the elements is 21. The minimum element is 1. The maximum element in this number array is 6, and the mean is 3.5, and the median, which is the middlemost element, which is 3.5. So you can perform n number of computations using this numpy, or you can use using these aggregate functions. Okay. Then we have next is conditional based operations. So in numpy we can also perform conditions like if else. If you have studied if else conditions, that if agar ye condition true hua, then it will print that. Okay, similar to if else, we have also this in numpy. The first one is where function. Where function kya karta hai basically, I've used this array, and I'm using this np dot where. Inside this np dot where, inside this np dot where, I am passing my array, which is the above one. ये जो array हम ये pass कर रहे हैं, and I'm using a condition less than 2. मतलब I want every element from this array which is less than 2. मेरे को जो भी elements हैं less than 2, मेरे को बता दो इसमें से कौन से elements less than 2 हैं. And this comma, after this comma, जो भी मैंने लिखा है, let's say this is the if else condition. अगर अगर array less than 2, अगर element 2 से less हुआ, तो it will print low. It will give you low. अगर false हुआ, this condition array less than 2 is false, so you will get high. Okay, similar to if else. अगर if array less than 2 true हुआ, you will get low. Else it will be high. If you just print it, you can see that 1 is less than 2. Yes, so it's low. 2 is less than 2. No, since I have not used equal to here, 2 is not less than 2. So all of the other are high. So if you just equal to, you can see that 1 and 2 are both now less than 1 and 2 are both satisfying the condition, and it is printing low. Then the next conditional based operation is argware. Okay, so argware basically give you the index value where the condition is true. It will, this where function क्या करता है, ये आपको बस बताएगा कि कहाँ पे मतलब लो और हाई कौन से पोजीशन पे है. एंड दिस आर्गवेयर बेसिकली क्या करेगा, आपको इंडेक्स वैल्यू दे देगा कि जहाँ पे भी ये कंडीशन ट्रू है, इट विल जस्ट रिटर्न यू द इंडेक्स. सो वी कैन सी हियर दैट np.argware, आई एम यूजिंग array percentile 2. Array I'm using the same, ये वाला array I'm just using the same array, and percentile 2 equal to 0 और modulus इक्वल से. इसका मतलब क्या है, रिमाइंडर. इफ आई डिवाइड एवरी एलिमेंट इन दिस लिस्ट विथ 2 and the remainder is 0, then return the index. तो इसके अंदर अगर मैं 2 से डिवाइड करूंगा, if I just divide every element in this with 2 and the remainder is 0, then return the index value. जहाँ पे भी true हो रहा है वो condition, just return. So if I just print it, you can see that I am getting 135. 135 का मतलब क्या है, this 135 is basically the index. So at first index this condition is true, at third index this condition is true, and at fifth index this condition is true. So you can see that if you divide 2 by 2, remainder is 0. If you divide 4 by 2, remainder is 0, and if you divide 6 by 2, the remainder is 0. So it will just return you the index values. So this is argware condition. Okay, now next is, okay, I'm just using another numpy array. Basically, I'm using another numpy array, which is a multi-dimensional array. And now uh, we are using the same argvar function, but in a multi-dimensional array. I have used this argvar function to a single dimension. Now I'm using the same argvar condition in a multi-dimensional array. Okay. Now, if you see this, I want every element to be returned whose value is greater than 5. So in this numpy array, you can see that after 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, these four numbers are greater than 5. So this argvar is basically giving me the index values. So this first one, which is 1, comma 2, which that means that first row, which is this one. Bear in mind, I've always said that is zeroth row हमारा ये है. This is the zeroth row and this is the first row. So in this first row, I and second column, first row and second column. So this is the zeroth column. This is the first column and the second column. So first row, second column, which is this element, sixth. So similar to this, we have 7, 8, 9. So ये पूरे वही है, which means second row and the zeroth column, second row, first column, second row, second column, this one. Okay, now we have array is equal to np dot, I'm using a single dimension array again. And the next function is np dot logical and. So can anyone tell me कि मतलब and करता क्या है basically, and gate or gate? Anyone can anyone tell me कि logical and करता क्या है? And gates पढ़े होंगे आप? And gates or gates. Hello.
It returns true if both the conditions are true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So logical and basically कहता है if both the conditions are true, it will return true. Otherwise, अगर एक भी condition false हुआ, if you can see that inside this logical and function, I am passing two conditions: array greater than 20 and array less than 50. So among these two conditions, अगर एक भी fail हो जाता है, let's say एक element 50 से कम नहीं हुआ, so it will return you false. It will return you false. See, so the first element is false. It will basically give you a boolean value, true or false. So first element is 2. You can see that array greater than 20. Is 2 greater than 20? No, 2 is less than 20. So पहला ही condition false होगा. So it will automatically give you false. The next is 45. Since 45 is greater than 20, the first condition होगा true. And the next second condition, now it will go to second condition. Is 45 less than 50? Yes. So both conditions are true. Since both conditions are true, it will return it true. You can check every other number. If any of the condition is false, it will just return false. Okay, very simple. The next is logical OR. Okay, next is logical OR. So can anyone tell me क्या करता है or gate or function करता क्या है? Hello. Can anyone tell me or yeah.
It returns true if either of the condition is true. If at
Yeah.
least one is true.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, correct. So a logical OR क्या करता है basically? If any of the condition is true, then it will return true. So in logical and, both of the condition must be true. दोनों condition true होने ही चाहिए जब भी true देगा. But logical OR में क्या है? अगर एक भी condition true हुआ, it will return it true. So if you just print it, see, I'm using the same list. Okay, I'm using the same numpy array here also, but since this is a logical OR, I'm using the logical OR function. यहाँ पे I got true. Why? Because uh, because I'm using array less than 2. Since 2 is not less than 2, okay? This condition is false. 2 is not less than 2. I'm not using equal to here. So 2 is not less than 2. So this condition is false. But So the next condition, which is array less than 50, since 2 is less than 50, it is returning with 2. So this condition is true and this condition is false. So false true will be true. Uh, you can check any other elements here. You can check every element. It will, if any of the condition is true, it will return you true. Okay. So any doubts till now? कोई doubts हैं क्या? Any of these functions are where conditional based operations? कोई doubts anyone? You can react. You can react. Any doubts? कोई doubts है तो please chats में भी बोल सकते हो if your mic is not working. Okay, no doubts. Okay, चलो. Next is dealing with missing values. Now, if you go into machine learning, uh, missing values is very important. Okay, dealing with missing values is very important because normally जो भी अपना data रहता है, data set और जो भी data रहता है, it's always messy. तो उसके अंदर missing values रहते हैं, invalid values रहता है. We have duplicate values, many things. So we have to deal with all of those values. Okay. So in NumPy, in order to deal with missing values, we have many functions. The first one is np.nan. So np.nan, basically nan stands for not a number. Nan stands for not a number. इसका मतलब ये नहीं it's zero, okay? इसका मतलब क्या है? It is a null value. मतलब there is nothing there. It's missing. ठीक है? And the number is missing there. If you जो भी बंदा इनपुट कर रहा था डेटा सेट में और एनीथिंग, अगर ह्यूमन एरर मतलब कोई गलती की वजह से भूल गया तो numpy will mark that number as not a number, nan value. Okay, I'm using this numpy array and I'm using this np.nan. तो बेसिकली इसका मतलब क्या है? इट इज अ नल वैल्यू. नल वैल्यू मतलब doesn't hold any significance. Okay, so if you just print it, okay, same nan. So you will see nan here, which means it is a missing value inside this numpy array. Okay, now now we have two more things, np.inf and minus np.inf. Basically these are two functions that check if the data set have positive and negative infinites. Okay, in data sets you can also have infinites. Okay, and so in order to represent infinite, similar to nan, which is used for representing null value, similar to that, in order to represent minus infinity and plus infinity, we are using np.inf and minus np.inf. Okay, now 1 minute. So I just print it. Okay, so np.isNan. So ये क्या है? np.isNan, it's a function which checks whether there is a null value in your numpy array or. So if you see, I'm using the same array. Yeah, I'm using this array, and at this position, I got a null value, which is np.nan. So if I use np.isNan, which is a function, and I'm passing the array, it will return you a boolean value, which means first element is false because it's not a null value. One is not a null value. Second element false, third element false, but at fourth element, it is giving me true because since it's a null value. यहाँ पे null value होने की वजह से it will return you true. So if you just 1 minute, if I just add here np.inf, if I just add np.inf also here, and instead of isNan, if I want to check if there is any infinite value present in my numpy array or not, I can use inf to check that. Okay, yeah. So you can see that I'm using isInf function to check whether in my numpy array, which is this one, इसके अंदर हमारे पास infinite value है या नहीं. So you can see that everything is false except the last element, which is the infinite value. Okay, similar to that, np is finite is used for negative infinite values. These are the functions that detects any null values, infinite values, and finite values. Now, next is this. You can perform all of the operations above. जो भी logical or logical and था, you can use this. If we are using this numpy array, जिसके अंदर we have negative infinite, we have a positive infinite, and also we have a null value. So everything जो भी चीज है इसमें गलत होनी चाहिए, सब कुछ है इसके अंदर. Okay. I am using np.logical or, and my first condition is there any null value present, and if there is any infinite value present in my list. So if you just run it, you will see that since this is a logical or, इनमें से अगर इन दो conditions में अगर एक भी true हुआ तो it will be true. Okay, so we can see that we have a null value, so this condition is true. np dot is null value, ये वाला condition true होगा, that it will return it true. Second one is false. Why? Since second element हम देख सकते हैं इधर 1 है, तो 1 null value भी नहीं है, 1 infinite value भी नहीं है. So my both conditions are false. So it will return you false. Similar to this, np dot infinite and negative infinite, this will be true. np dot is inf, the condition true हो जाएगा. So basically, due to that, it will return you true. Okay. So यहाँ तक we have completed numpy. Now we'll next dive into pandas. So numpy में anyone कोई doubts हैं क्या? कोई भी part of समझी नहीं हो, you can just tell me. You can also write in the chat. Chat में भी लिख सकते हो. तो समझ में नहीं आया कोई functions कोई output समझ में नहीं आया. Anyone? Hello. No doubts. चलो numpy is complete. If you have doubt, you can raise your hand or you can just open your mic. Okay. Next is pandas. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is pandas? Pandas करता क्या है? कोई idea है? Anyone? What is pandas? क्या use करते हैं हम pandas का? Hello. Anyone? Pandas does कोई use करे pandas अभी तक या फिर explore करे pandas? Anyone? You can react if you're not explored it yet. You can open your mic. No? Okay. Hiba said no. Okay. बाकी सब लोग, बाकी सब लोग except Hiba, no one is answering anything. Hello, कोई okay. No one is reacting. Okay, no problem. So pandas क्या है basically? It's an library in Python used for data manipulation. Okay, so डेटा का मैनिपुलेट करने के वास्ते और उसके स्टैटिस्टिकल एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं हम, डेटा के ऊपर क्लीन कर सकते हैं, और वी कैन ऐड रिमूव मेनी थिंग्स वी कैन डू विद द हेल्प ऑफ pandas. इसके अंदर हम बेसिक मशीन लर्निंग, डेटा साइंस, यू विल फाइंड pandas एवरीवेयर. जहाँ पे भी आप मशीन लर्निंग, इफ यू वांट टू गेट इनटू मशीन लर्निंग, डीप लर्निंग और आगे जाके, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फर्स्ट स्टेप इज आपके डेटा को यू हैव टू ट्रांसफॉर्म, यू हैव टू चेंज योर डेटा. डेटा हमेशा परफेक्ट नहीं रहता. ओके, व्हेनेवर यू गेट अ डेटा, इट इज ऑलवेज इम्परफेक्ट. इट इज ऑलवेज इम्परफेक्ट. इसके अंदर बहुत सारे वैल्यूज इनवैलिड रहते हैं, बहुत सारे वैल्यूज मिसिंग रहते हैं. सो in order to deal with those situations, you have to use pandas. Okay, so yeah, you can see here that pandas is an open source Python library used for high performance data manipulation and analysis. You can perform analysis and data manipulation मेन pandas के अंदर we have two data structures. ठीक है? In main we are in pandas we have two data structures. First one is series, which is a 1D data structure, one dimensional data structure, and another we have 2D, which is data frame. Two-dimensional data structure in pandas is a data frame, which allows for efficient handling of labeled, tabular, and time series data. So one dimensional मतलब क्या है? Basically, it will only have a column. Series का मतलब क्या है? Basically, it will only have one column. You can only use or perform any operations on one column. And data frame is simple. जैसे हमारे पास table रहता है, we have rows and columns both. So that is two-dimensional. Okay, so that is two-dimensional. So that is data frame. So first, let's start with Panda series. So as I have told you, series matlab kya hai? One dimensional. It will only have one column. Okay. So first of all, we have to import pandas. If you are getting an error, if you are getting an error doing this, what you can do is just do one thing. You can just write pip install pandas, and your pandas will be installed. It is better कि आप ये कमांड अपने कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट में लिखो बिकॉज आपके लोकल मशीन में डाउनलोड हो जाएगा pandas. It will only okay. If you're getting an error importing pandas, install the pandas. Then I'm using the same alias, which means shortcut as PD. So PD मतलब एक shortcut जैसा use कर रहा हूँ in order to access every function in pandas. So now if I want to create a series, pandas series, so I'm using pd.series. हम ऊपर numpy के वास्ते np dot use कर रहे थे function में नाम. In here we have to use pd.series, and always remember that this s is always capital. Okay, it is a case sensitive matter. So this s is always capital. If you write small s, you will get an error. Okay, so series में s capital होना चाहिए. It is case sensitive, and just pass on the list. Okay, if you जिसका भी आपको सीरीज बनाना है, you just pass it on, and if you see the output, you can see that I got a series. हम pandas क्यों use करते हैं basically in order to visualize the data in a better format. ठीक है? इसके बजाय हमारे को it also provide you automatically indexes. So automatically pandas ने क्या करा, अब एक एक एलिमेंट को अपना इंडेक्स प्रोवाइड कर दिया. So 0 1 2 3 4 these are default. अगर आप कभी भी यूज करेंगे pandas, these 0 1 2 3 4 index will automatically be generated. Okay, now हमारा panda series होगा. It is a one column. As you can see, it is one column. If you increase the number of square brackets also here, if you are thinking about it, अगर आप increase भी करेंगे, it will only be a one column. See, इसका मतलब क्या है कि only there is one row. This is इसका मतलब क्या है? Panda सोच रहा है ये पूरा this whole list of elements is one element. That's why you can see that at 0th index, this is only having all of these numbers. Okay, so हमेशा it will only be one dimensional. मतलब एक ही कॉलम होगा, एक ही कॉलम होगा इसका. Then next is type. Okay, हम series हमने panda series create कर लिया. So if you just print the type of it, you can see that pandas.core.series. So it is a panda series. It's not a NumPy array or Python list. It's a panda series. Okay. Now, if I use this ser.index, this function ये function क्या करता है basically? आपके जो भी panda series है आपको information देगा कि कितने indexes हैं, कहाँ से start है, कहाँ पे खत्म है. If you just print it, you can see that my index starts from 0. You can see that. 1 minute, I'll just remove it. Yeah. So you can see that my index start with 0, stop at 1. Okay. And step is 0. The difference between every index is 1 1. So this is ser.index. Index के बारे में बोलेगा बस. Then if I want to change the name of this column, यहाँ पे we can see that it is 0. So default value is always 0. Okay. If I want to change the name of this, so I'm using this ser.name, and I am giving the name of the series to be count. So if I just print it, you can see that instead of 0, it has been converted to count. So you can see that we have 12, 23, 34, all of this. Okay. Now, sliced or panda series, very similar to NumPy. You can also use this SER, which is a series, and you can use 0:5. And as we all know that this 5 is never included. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll get the result only till this. This 67 or fifth index will not be included. So we just print this, you can see that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Till 4, I got all the elements that was in this series. But you can use this for indexing, but it is not a better practice. Okay, it is not a better practice to use this because normally we always deal with data frames. Okay, we have multiple 800, 900 rows or multiple columns. We have 15 columns, 900 rows, 1000 rows, 1000 rows. So we can't always use this because we don't know the name. We don't know the name of the columns. So बहुत hectic हो जाएगा. If you will use this, you have your data frame and you have to see everything. कि कहाँ से कौन से index को start होगा. So this is not a good say practice. So instead of this, we use ilog function. So ilog basically क्या है? It is a location based indexing. It will give the value of the index. So it will basically, you just have to uh, pass your index value and it will return you the output. So just see it. In this ser.ilog, ilog matlab kya hai? Indexed location. So it will just return you the index. No, it will just return you the element present at that index. So inside this, मैंने 3 pass किया है. So you can see that at third index, I got the element 45. So I got the result as 45. If you want multiple elements to be accessed, you can put another bracket here. 1 minute. Yeah, you can put 2 brackets and you can put any number of index values. If I just choose this, you can see here. At third index, I got the element 45. At first index, I got 23. You can see here. Okay. At third index, I got 45. At first index, I got 23. So this ilog function basically just pass on your index values and it will return you the elements present there. So any doubts till now? समझ में नहीं आ रहा even. Hello. Any doubts with the?
ये जो series है, इसमें you can have multiple dimensions या फिर only one dimension?
No, there is only one dimension. I have said that the series is the one dimensional data structure. You can put any number of square brackets here. You will think that as a one dimensions बढ़ा रहे हैं. Basically dimensions बढ़ नहीं रहे. It is only a single dimension. But ये क्या कर रहा है? Basically ये जो list दिख रही ना आपको, ये basically it is considering it as a one element. Dimension एक ही है. It is always column. हमेशा ये एक column ही रहेगा ये. Okay, लेकिन inside this ये जो whole list है उसको बस एक element जैसा क्या बोलते हैं identify करेगा. You can increase the number of brackets, but it will still be one element only. See, dimension एक ही है, इसका dimension बदलेगा नहीं. If you will see that dimension एक ही है, मतलब 0th index पे we have this list, this element. Okay, always हमेशा ये column ही रहेगा. So just remove all this. It is always be a column. Okay. अगर आप dimensions बढ़ाओगे, जैसे numpy में हम square brackets add करते हैं तो dimensions बढ़ते रहता है. If you will do this here, pandas क्या सोचेगा? सिर्फ क्या बोलते हैं, एक ही एलिमेंट आप दे रहे हो इस पूरे कॉलम में, सिर्फ आपके पास एक ही एलिमेंट रहेगा विच इज दिस होल लिस्ट। पूरे लिस्ट को एक ही एलिमेंट कंसीडर करेगा और जीरो इंडेक्स पे डाल देगा बस। ओके, डाउट क्लियर होगा? ओके, एनीवन और कोई डाउट्स हैं यू कैन आस्क मी। If you don't have any doubts, please just react. If you don't have any doubts, please just react. Okay. One, two, three, four. Okay, five. I think only 4 to 5 students are listening. What about the others? Uh, okay, nice. If anyone is having doubts, please write it in the chat or open your mic. Okay. Okay. So I was telling, okay, ilog function khatam. Okay. Basically, it is a location-based indexing. Now we have, if I want, see, you can also change the index values. If you don't want this index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, अगर मेरे को अपने खुद की इंडेक्स चाहिए भाई, these indexes are default. जब भी आप सीरीज या डेटा फ्रेम क्रिएट करोगे, these indexes will always be there, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if you don't want that, if you want names, so you can change it using this. See, I'm using a list basically, iPhone, Motorola, these are all the phone names, and I'm storing all of these name in this devices variable. बाद में क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? I'm using ser.index function. Basically, ser मतलब मेरा series. This series dot index is equal to devices. I'm passing this list, whole list, as an index. Okay. If I just print this, you can see that all of the index values, जो भी index values थे हमारे 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, जो भी अपने index values थे, those all have been changed to names. जो मैं यहाँ पे list पास करा था, जो भी index values थे वो change हो गए इसमें. Okay, now we can see that this iPhone is well, let's say we are having count. We have 12 iPhones, 23 Motorola phones, 34 Samsung phones, 45 Oppo phones, 67 OnePlus phones. So this is a count. Okay. After this, now if now since there are no index there is no numerical index. Before we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have string values, which is iPhone, Motorola. जो भी है ये पूरे string values हैं. अब अगर मेरे को एक्सेस करना है, फिर स्लाइस करना है this series को, तो I can use log function. Okay, I can use log function. If you are thinking that I can use ilog function here, you will get an error. Okay, why? Because there are no numerical index here. This ilog function will only work if your index values are numerical. You can see that यहाँ पे 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 है, which is numerical index. That's why you can use ilog function. Since it is giving, you are passing your index value there. But we can't use that index value here since we have changed the names, changed the index values. Now it is a string value. You can't use index ilog function here. So now to deal with this, we have log function. So log function kya hai? Basically, log function is used for label based indexing. So instead of numerical based indexing, which was used in ilog, हम लेबल बेस्ड इंडेक्सिंग करेंगे. लेबल बेस्ड इंडेक्सिंग मींस बेसिकली जो भी आप स्ट्रिंग वैल्यूज इधर देख रहे हो इन आईफोन मोटोरोला, you want to access using these, you can use log function. So you can see that ser.log, and inside this log function, I am passing iPhone. I'm not passing a numerical, let's say numerical index. I'm passing iPhone. 1 minute. If I just comment this out, okay. You can see the output is 12. See, Samsung, where is iPhone? Yeah, iPhone count is 12. So you can access using this. If you just use an ilog function, you won't get. If I just change this to ilog, I'm using an ilog function now and passing a label, passing a label index. If you just use it, you will get an error. that cannot index by location index with a non-integer key. So it is basically saying एक non-integer key के साथ this iloc function cannot work. So just remove this I once. Okay, remove this I, and you can also put many number of क्या बोलते हैं elements here. Just put another bracket, and you can pass multiple values. If I want Nokia count also, Nokia, and any other thing, you can also get it. Okay, you can see here, I got iPhone value and the Nokia value. Okay, Nokia count basically. So we can use this. Okay, now we get to this. If I want to slice this, okay, I want the values from iPhone till Oppo. So I want from iPhone till Oppo. So this part. So if I want values from this to this, पहले हमेशा हम क्या देखते थे? Normally, if we are dealing with numerical based indexing, this value was never included. Okay, I have written here in log both the starting value and ending value is included in the output. So it is a very special case. खाली log function में क्या है? This starting value, which is iPhone, and also the Oppo, this ending value, these both are included. So just comment this out. You can see this. See, I got the count of iPhone. I got the count of Motorola, Samsung, and I also got Oppo. Normally, if you in this, if you can see that here, this 5 is not included always. For numpy में भी हम देख लिए थे, अगर हम indexing कर रहे हैं और slicing कर रहे हैं, this ending value which is 5, it was never included. Okay, but in log function, this ending value is always considered. Okay, so इसमें ये भी include होता है. So you can see that I got iPhone from iPhone till Oppo. So this is special to log function. Okay. Any doubts? Lock, iLock, me? Anyone? Okay, one reaction second. Okay. Okay, someone is raising hand. Zen, okay. Any doubt? Someone just raised. No doubts. Okay. Nice. So let's continue. Now, iLock lock khatam. Okay. Next is conditional selection. So similar to NumPy, you can also perform conditional based selections here also. If I want, if I want only those phones whose count is greater than 25, I can directly use it, and we can see that it will return you a Boolean value. Okay, so if I use this condition directly, we can see that wherever this condition is true, it is returning as true. If you don't want a Boolean value or a Boolean value, if you don't want true or false, if you just want a count, कि कितने नंबर कितने phones हैं जिसका value greater than 25 है, just use another str and put this in the square bracket. If you just do this, आपको वही phones मिलेंगे जिसकी values greater than 25 है. You can use anything. If you are just 34 into this, you can see that all the phones whose count is greater than 34 greater than 34 is being produced. Okay, so you can perform many condition selections as you wish. Okay, now next is data frame. Okay, as I have told you, data frame is a two-dimensional data structure. Data frame is a two-dimensional data structure similar to series. इसके अंदर हम क्या करेंगे? It has both rows and columns. In series, as someone, I think Hiba, right? She told that कि हम multiple dimensions use कर सकते हैं इसके अंदर, लेकिन it will only have one dimension, and that is only a column. Okay, a series will only have a single column. That's all. But if you get into data frame, it has both columns and rows. Okay, so now in order to create a data frame, we are using a dictionary. Okay, can anyone tell me, or can anyone tell me what is a dictionary? Can anyone tell me? कोई डिक्शनरी के बारे में जानता है? What is dictionary? Okay, yeah, collection of key value pair. Absolutely, yeah. So dictionary, it is a collection of key value pairs. So you can see that I'm using a dictionary here. This name is the key. So all of this name, age, department, salary, all of these are the keys, and inside these keys we all have it. All of the keys has values inside it. Raju, Sham, ye sab. These all are values. Okay, so it's a collection of key value pairs. So if I just run it, okay, now if I want to create a data frame similar to series, you have to use pd.series there, but here you have to use pd.dataframe. And remember that this data frame here, it is case sensitive. So this D and F should be always in capital. Okay, similar to series, above you can see that I'm using pd.series. Here S is capital. Here, similar to series, D and F should be always capital. Okay, if you just use this, you will get an error saying it is not recognizing it. No attribute data frame. So it is always should be capital. To do this, and inside it, pd.data frame function, and just pass your dictionary and print your df. You will get this. So this is a pandas data frame. This is called as a pandas data frame. तो अगर आप इसको देखेंगे, it looks more disorganized or say थोड़ा confusing दिखता है. So if you just convert all of this into a data frame, it will be looking like this, which is more let's say visually better. Okay, ज़्यादा appealing दिखता है. So you can also see that I have used some nan values here. So in order to show nan values, I have used np.nan. np.nan, np.nan. I've used np.nan. I have numpy में बोल दिया था actually. This is null values. इसका मतलब missing values. मतलब हम अपना data enter करें ही नहीं. So I'm creating a data frame. This is a simple data frame. When you work with machine learning, data frames ऐसे create data sets ऐसे नहीं होते हैं. Okay? Any doubt? Hello. Any doubt? Anyone? Okay. Okay. So normally, if we go into machine learning, we have data sets. You will get an Excel sheet or CSV file, Excel sheets, and वहाँ पे तुम्हारे पास बहुत सारे वैल्यूज होंगे, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, बहुत सारे वैल्यूज होंगे. एंड अमंग दोज वैल्यूज देयर विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ नल वैल्यूज. वहाँ पर नल वैल्यूज भी होंगे, मिसिंग वैल्यूज भी, नल वैल्यूज भी होंगे, डुप्लीकेट्स होंगे, एंड इट इज नॉट परफेक्ट. डेटा सेट इज ऑलवेज नॉट परफेक्ट. ओके, सो हम एक छोटा सा डेटा सेट बना दिया अपना, बेसिक डेटा सेट. इसमें थोड़े नल वैल्यूज डाल दिया मैंने. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज 1 minute. Okay, so next is I'm creating another data frame. 1 minute. So this is just to show that, yeah, there's two methods to create a data frame. You can create your own dictionary and pass your data, pass your dictionary into this data frame function, or else what you can do is use pd.data frame, and inside this you can write your rows, how many rows and how many columns you want. I want 3 rows, so I've written this one, this list, this list. I've used 3 lists here, so I want 3 rows. Okay, 3 rows, and after the comma, you can write columns. What will be the name of the columns? Like, what's the name of this column, name of this column, name of this column? You can use this function, age count of kids. You can write anything. So this is also another method how to create a data frame. Okay. The next is df.head. Any doubt, anyone? Okay. Next is df.head. So what does this? ये करता क्या है df.head? Basically, df.head आपके डेटा सेट जो ये है, लेट्स फॉरगेट अबाउट दिस, जो हमारा ये डेटा सेट है, इसके टॉप 5 वैल्यूज मेरे को निकाल के दे देगा. Okay, so this df.head basically gives you the top 5 values in your data sets. If you just print it, you can see that. Yeah. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it only provided you the first 5 values, first 5 records, first 5 records in your data sets. Okay. If you don't pass any parameter, it is default 5. Okay. It is always a default 5. If you want a custom made, if you say, I just only want the first 2 rows, you can see this. Okay. I got the first 2 records. If you want the only 3 records, you can see this. Okay, you can custom make this. You can customize the number of rows you want. But if you don't pass any parameter, it is always a 5. Default is 5. So df.height will give you the first 5 elements. Okay. The next is df.tail. Similar to df.head, tail क्या करता है basically? आपके first 5 elements के बजाय आपके last 5 elements दे देगा. Okay, it will start from the bottom. So bottom to approach. Okay, df.tail 2. So it will only give me the last 2 values. If you just print it, see, I got only the 5th index and the 4th index value. In this data set, I got only the last 2 values. Okay, so it will give you the bottom values. df.head क्या करता है आपको जो first values है वो देगा. Okay, any doubts till now? कोई doubts? Okay, I think. Okay. Now next is df.shape. So df.shape क्या करता है basically it will give you the output कि कितने rows और कितने columns. Basically in your data set, we can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 rows and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. You can see that we have 4 columns. The index column consider नहीं करेंगे. Okay. These 4 are the columns. I have 4 columns and I have 6 records. Okay. If you use df.shape, you can see it. I got 6,4. Okay. Okay, next is df.info. What does this do? Information basically, information क्या कहता है आपके जो भी data set है, basic information about your data set, df.info आपको दे देगा. So just use this. Okay. You can see all the information about your data set. कि मेरा name column कितने number of columns है मेरे पास. I have 4 columns: name, age, department, and salary. ये नॉन नल काउंट बेसिकली क्या करता है कि आपके कॉलम में how many of them are null values. Okay, as you can see here, in my salary column, I got a null value, and in my age column, I got another null value. So you can see here in df.info, the non-null count part. In name, all 6 records are non-null, but in age, you can see it as 5 non-null values. Okay, since एक record आपका null value है, so it is giving you 5. It will also tell you the data type of the records. In name we have object, age we have only float, department we have object, and salary we have float. Okay. It will also tell you the memory usage. The data set store करने में कितने bytes of memory use हो रहा है. So it is taking 324 bytes. Next is df.describe. df.describe क्या कहता है basically आपको आपके data set के बारे में it will provide you the statistical information. So if you just run it, you can see that it will provide you the statistical information. और df.describe will only work on floating point numbers and integers. As you can see here, हमारे data set में we have only two columns, age and salary, which are integers or floating point numbers. Name and department, string values. So df.describe करता है basically statistical analysis कि कितना count है. We have 5 records of age, 5 records of salary. उसका mean कितना है? What is the mean age? 27. Average age is 27 and the average salary is 32,000. Okay. Standard deviation 3.96 and standard deviation in salary is 14202. Minimum value, minimum age कितना है हमारे data set में? Minimum age you can see is 22. So minimum age, minimum salary, maximum age, maximum salary, all of those आपको statistical analysis में दे देगा आपको. Now we can also use log and ilog function similar to series. हम लोग देखे थे similar to series. We can also use log and ilog functions in pandas data frame also. Okay. So first of all, you can see that we can use here.ilog functions. Basically, to use this, you will get this is the starting index. कौन से index के values होने हैं starting from, and this colon 2 basically means after 2. जितने भी records after second index I want that. This colon 2 means after second index जितने भी values हैं I want that. So okay, this is log and ilog functions. Similar to that, you can use name base also. Okay. I want 1:3 मतलब first index, second index और third index पे age or department के values I want. So I can see this age and department, I got it. Okay. Next is accessing the columns. You can access your columns directly. If अगर मेरे को सिर्फ अपने 1 minute. Yep. So if I want just to access 2 columns, specific 2 columns, मेरे को department और salary नहीं चाहिए या फिर I just want age, I can directly access columns. Just आपको अपना data frame का variable देखना है, अपना df डालना है, and inside the square brackets you just pass on कौन से columns you want. So you just print it. You will only get the age and department column. Okay. So you can access any number of columns using this syntax. Okay. Next is df unique function. So unique function क्या करता है basically आपके जितने आपके data set में या फिर आपके columns में जो भी unique values हैं आपको दे देगा. So if we can see here, in department we have HR, we have IT, we have finance. We can see that IT is being repeated 2 times and HR is also repeated 2 times. Okay, sorry, IT is repeated 3 times. So in this department column, कौन से unique values हैं? So I can use dot unique function. df, first of all, access your department column. df depth, you have access to department column. And dot unique, basically क्या कर रहा है जो भी unique values हैं department में वो आपको दे देगा. You can see here. So it only gave you the output HR, IT, and finance. Okay. Next is value counts. Basically value counts क्या करता है सिमिलर आपके कितने number of values हैं in department, how many number of values are there. If you just use this, you can see that in department, in IT we have 3 values, 1, 2, 3. In HR you can see in the department column we have 2 values, and in finance only 1. In department column finance एक ही है. So value counts आपको बस दे देगा कितने values हैं. बाद में we have adding a new column. If you want to add a new column into this, ये data frame में अगर हम एक और extra column add करना चाह रहे हैं, we can do it using first of all df new salary. जो भी आपका नया column का नाम है, what do you want? आपका नया column का नाम क्या है? You just write it equal to df of salary. So I'm doing df of salary plus 15,000. So एक ऐसा column add करो जिसमें salary, हर एक salary every salary, जितनी भी salary इधर सब will be in all of the salary 15,000 will be added. ठीक है? And this will be stored in a new column which is DF new salary. So if you just use this, you can see that एक नया column which is new salary has been added. Okay. Any doubts? Anyone? समझ में नहीं आया कुछ? Hello, anyone? Any doubts regarding adding a column or unique value counts and accessing the columns? Anyone with doubt? Okay, no doubts. You okay. We have to do it fast. Time खत्म हो रहा है, so let's go a little bit fast. Okay. Now we can also perform condition-based uh, actions of operations similar to NumPy. हम यहाँ पे भी हम condition के base पे हम access कर सकते column. So if you can see, this is the syntax. If you want to apply a condition, अपने डेटा सेट में मेरे को चाहिए कि जिसकी भी सैलरी 25,000 से ज्यादा है, इनको उन्हीं के रिकॉर्ड्स होने हैं, या फिर जिसकी भी एज 25 से ज्यादा है, इनको उसी के रिकॉर्ड्स होना है. सो in order to do that, you have to first use df, then inside your df, main df, you have to specify your condition. तो condition क्या है? Which is I want salary greater than 25. I want only the records where the salary is greater than 25,000. Okay. So this is how you basically use conditions. So if you just perform it, you can see that in the salary, it will only provide, it only gave me the records where the salary is greater than 25,000. Okay. You can see here that David has 65,000 50,000 salary, and also Alice has 45,000 salary. So it just gave me this. So this is the syntax. Remember this. First you have to write df, and inside the df main data frame, you have to pass on a condition. Okay. So similar to this, you can perform anything. So this is the and symbol. So in NumPy, we have seen that if both conditions are true, then only it is true. So instead of logical and, we are using an ampersand function here. So if this and ampersand means this is logical and, okay? So this means that if df of salary is greater than 21,000, this is the first condition. And in the second condition, I'm passing that age should be less than 30. So the salary should be greater than 21,000 and age should be less than 30. So these two conditions must be true. So if you just use this, you can see that Sham and David are the only two guys whose salary is greater than 21,000. You can see that their salary is greater than 21,000, but their age is less than 30, and their age is also less than 30, 24 and 29. In this, we can also see that Alice is having salary 45,000, but her age is 31. So this condition becomes false. So since it is logical and one condition is false, so it will not consider this record. Okay. Now we have a sort values function. Basically, sort values function क्या करता है? Basically, आपके values जो भी आपके records हैं, इसके अंदर ascending or descending order. We have two parameters in this. You can either use ascending order, or you can arrange all of them in ascending order, or you can arrange them in descending order. So if you use df.sort values and use and just give the column name, and ascending is equal to false, which means I don't want in ascending order. If you just print it, you can see that the new salary. So it is in descending order, starting from the biggest, 65,000, then 60, then 40, then 36. Okay. So this is, you can use this sort values. If you just change this to true, it will print this in ascending order, starting from the lowest salary, which is 35,000, till 65,000. And always remember, NaN value will never be considered here. this nan value record will always be in last. Okay. Next, we are getting into data cleaning, which is the most important part in pandas. uh, Whenever you get a data set, you have to first clean it, since it always contains some null values, duplicate values, or invalid values. So first of all, let's see how to deal with null values. Since we can see that in our data set, we have multiple nan values, multiple null values. Okay, so in order to deal with this, there's a function called df.isNull.sum. So if you just remove this sum first, since the main function is null. So basically it will give you a boolean value that does the record contain null values or not. If you just print it, you can see that wherever there is a null value, it is returning as true. Okay. If you just use is null dot sum function, it will give you the count. It will give you how many records are null values. If you just print it, you can see that in the name column we have zero null value. In age I have one. In salary I have one. In new salary I have one null value. Okay. So with the help of this, you can see how many null values are there. Then the next is how to deal with this. So we have many methods. The first one is drop NA. So drop NA क्या करता है basically wherever जहाँ पे भी आपकी record में null values हैं, basically it will drop it. It will delete this. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, this is the data frame. अगर आप कुछ नहीं करोगे इधर how parameter निकालोगे, just if you use df.drop NA, you can see that wherever जो भी record में null value था, it has been deleted. See, यहाँ पे we have a null value, so it is not here. Eve is not here. And in Babu, we can see that in the second index, there is a null value in the age column. Here, it is not there. So drop NA basically निकाल देता है. Okay? In parameter, we can see it is always any. So जो अभी हम use करें, ये parameter any था, मतलब कहीं भी अगर null value होगा तो निकाल दो, वो record को ही निकाल दो. We have another form. If you just set all, see, now if I change to all nan values returned. This means that all means अगर कोई भी record में पूरे null values हैं, if a record contains all null values, then it will be dropped. Okay, since यहाँ पे we can see that इस पूरे record में we have only one null value and बाकी पूरे non null values हैं, so it has not been dropped. But it is not a recommended thing. हम जो drop कर रहे हैं records, it is not always recommended because in normal data sets, if you go and practice, if normal data sets में we have multiple, मतलब बहुत सारे null values होते हैं. We have hundreds of null values. So if you drop every null value, अगर आप पूरे null values drop कर देंगे, तो आपका data set का जो size है, it will be reduced. It will be drastically reduced. So आपके जो machine learning models हैं, वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आएगा क्योंकि आपका क्वांटिटी आपका रिकॉर्ड्स कम हो रहे हैं, बहुत कम हो जा रहे हैं. So in order to deal with this, we can, in order to deal with these nan values, we can also fill them, which is a better option. Okay, so we have null values filling using the mean, median, and mode. I guess everyone knows mean, median, mode here. So first method is mean. So as you can see that in this data frame, in my age column, I have a nan value, I have a null value. So in order to fill this, what I can do this, df of age, I am accessing the column. This is the syntax, how to access a column. df of age, I have accessed the column. Dot fill na, इसका मतलब क्या है? I want to fill this value. I want to fill the nan value. Fill na मतलब यहाँ पे भी nan value है, वहाँ पे क्या fill करना है? Open your parenthesis and inside this, I want df of age dot median. इसका मतलब क्या है? I want this null value to be filled with the median of this age. If I just remove to mean and print it, you can see that at index 2 there was a null value, and now at index 2 there is a value which is 27.2, which is the mean value of all the ages. ये पूरे ages का mean value 27.2 है, but it is not recommended, it is not good, as अब मालूम है सबको कि किसी की भी age 27.2 नहीं हो सकती. So you have to make sure that कि mean median mode आपको कहाँ पे और कैसे यूज करना है. So since in age column हम mean यूज नहीं कर सकते because no one can be of age 27.2. So it is better to use median age. And now if you see that the median age is 29, so it is automatically filled. So this null value has been filled. Okay. You can use mode also. Mode means basically mode means the most repeated value in this. It is not since it's a very small data set, there is no repetition of ages, so I'm not using it. Okay. Now, but this mean, if you go into salary, you can see that is also null value. Now we can use mean function here because uh, filling this null value with the average salary is a better option. Okay. So I've used the same thing. I have accessed the salary, fill NA, and I've used the dot mean method. But you can see that at position 4, at position 4, 32,200 has been filled automatically with this is the average salary of all the employees. Okay. Now similar. So instead of this mean median mode methods, we also have two more methods to deal with null values. First one is forward fill. Next one is backward fill. So forward fill मतलब क्या है basically? If you can see here, forward fill मतलब क्या हुआ? If you have a null value here, nan value इधर है हमारे पास. Forward fill मतलब क्या हुआ? जो भी इसके immediate top पे है, which is age 24. So this null value will be filled with 24. जो भी इसके ऊपर वैल्यू है 24 ऑटोमेटिकली यहाँ पे वो आ जाएगा. If you see this, use this, you can see that above the null value there was 24, तो ऑटोमेटिकली फॉरवर्ड फिल हो गया है. मतलब 24 ऊपर था तो नीचे भी जहाँ पे null value था वहाँ पे 24 आ गया. Similar to forward fill, we have backward fill. Backward fill में क्या होता है? अगर हमारे null value के बाद का, if we have null value here, जैसे सी एज का ही ले लेंगे हम, हमारे पास null value इधर है. बैकवर्ड फिल में क्या होगा? 29 जो है वो ऑटोमेटिकली फिल हो जाएगा इधर null value के बजाय. फॉरवर्ड फिल 24 फिल होगा एंड इन बैकवर्ड फिल जो भी नेक्स्ट वैल्यू है, नेक्स्ट एज है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली फिल हो जाएगा. यू कैन सी हियर we use this. See 29 at index 2 there was null value, automatically 29 है इधर फिल हो गई. Okay. Anyone any doubts till now? Hello, anyone any doubts in data cleaning, missing, dealing with null values, forward fill, backward fill, mean median mode? Anyone? Okay. Okay, let's hurry because time खत्म हो रहा है. थोड़ा जल्दी कर लेंगे. Okay. Next is lambda function. So does anyone know about lambda function here? I think Python में पढ़ाए होंगे. Does anyone know what does lambda function do? Anyone कोई reaction दे दो. Mike, you can open your mic. Anyone?
It's an anonymous function.
Yeah. So it's an anonymous function, or say you could say it's a smaller version. Okay, small version of a function. So you can use this anywhere. Okay, instead of defining it independently, you can define it anywhere using a lambda function. Okay. If you see here, df of age, df of age is equal to df of age. Basically, what I'm doing is if there is an age in one minute, यहाँ पे बता दूँ. Yes. Okay. If I'll say अगर किसी ने गलती से age के कॉलम में if anyone put 300 years. So it is an invalid entry because as anyone knows कि किसी की भी एज 300 नहीं हो सकती. ओके, सो अगर ऐसा हुआ किसी ने भी गलती से यहाँ पे 300 डाल दिया, 200 डाल दिया एज, ड्यू टू ह्यूमन एरर, ह्यूमन मिस्टेक की वजह से अगर किसी ने यहाँ पे इनवैलिड वैल्यू डाल दी, सो वी कैन यूज लैम्डा फंक्शंस टू करेक्ट दोस. ठीक है, सो इफ एनीवन रोट 200 एज, सो it's impossible. Okay, if your age 200 नहीं हो सकता, so it's an invalid value. So in order to deal with invalid values, we use this lambda function. Okay, so if you just remove this, okay, okay, now, so I want df of age. Okay, I'm accessing my age column. So df, this is the syntax. Okay, remember df of age is the syntax to access any column. Df of age, and I'm applying dot apply. This dot apply is a function inside which I'm using lambda x. This lambda x is the function, and what I need to do, कौन सा function, क्या है वो function. So I want every record in my age column. I want every record in my age column to be multiplied by 2. So if I want to do that, 1 minute. If I want to do that, just I have to use dot apply lambda x, and you can define a function. So if you just use this, you can see that 1 minute use f of x. Okay. Okay, no, yeah. After performing this, you have to again store it in this column in order to showcase in the original DF. You can see that in the age column, you can see जो भी values थे हमारे पुराने वाले 22, 24, 29, every value has been multiplied by 2. It has been doubled. Okay, you can perform anything here. अगर आप divide करना चाहें, you can also divide it again. So अगर आप again divide करोगे तो जो भी values थे again came back to the normal age. Okay, so अगर कोई भी invalid values रहे, so you can perform or you can apply lambda functions to do this. Okay, after that we have, this is very important, we have important a CSV or Excel file. Since above we have custom made our own data set. Okay, हमने यहाँ पे खुद का data set create करा था, अपने खुद का data frame create करा था. Normally this wouldn't happen. Okay, normally हम हमारे को data set import करना पड़ेगा. Okay, so how to do this I will tell you. So first import pandas, simple. Then you have to use this df2.pd.readcsv. So I'll tell you how to import a data set into a collab file. Please wait for a minute. Okay. Okay, I'll show you how to import a CSV or an Excel file from outside. Okay. First of all, let me do this. String. Okay. Now, so now we have to import a real life data set into our collab file. So how can we do that? So first of all, I'll be sending you a data set, real data set, in your WhatsApp groups, and I'll send it. So first of all, if we go into library, you can see that I have a Titanic data set. If you just open it, you can see that. Can everyone see my screen? Hello. Yes. Okay. So now this is the real world data set in which we have passengers survived and name of the passengers, their gender, their age, everything. So this is the real life data set. You can see that how many values are there. There are maybe 800, 900 values or records here. So this is my data set. You will get. So first of all, if you are not in Collab, if you're not performing it in Collab, what you can do is you have to go to your at any data set or any data set. You have to right click and see. You have to copy as path. You have to copy the path here. Okay. This is only applicable when you are using it in your VS Code. If your IDE, if your environment is connected to your local machine, which is VS Code, if you're using Anaconda, VS Code, if anything, you can directly copy the path from your local machine, copy the path, and directly what you can do is paste that path directly here. Okay, you can directly paste that path here. I will show it. Okay, copy paths and just you have to print it here. Okay, but this is only applicable when you are using VS Code or Anaconda, which is connected to your machine. But since this is a cloud-based IDE, which is Google Colab, you can't. This Google Colab cannot access your local machine, so you can't use this. So first of all, what you have to do is import. You have to import that Titanic file or that data set into your Colab file. So what you can do is you have to first go in this file section. Okay. Once you enter this file section, there's an option called upload. Here, you can see it is upload. You have to press it on. Now you can see it. Okay. Now from your local machine, you can click on the dataset you want it. And now that dataset will automatically be imported in your Collab session. Okay. Now you can see that there is a CSV file called Collab in the Collab session. Okay. Now you have to do is you have to press on these three dots, and now you will get a copy path option. Now click it, copy path, and now you have to paste it between this. Okay. Now, yeah. So if you do this, you can see that pd.read CSV. I'm reading a CSV file. So I'm using the pd.read CSV. And inside this, I'm passing the path. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So yeah. So if you do this, your file will be imported. So it has been imported. If that is since it is an CSV file, you can see that it is a .csv extension. If that is an Excel file, you have to use this instead, pd.read Excel. Okay. Uh, does anyone have any doubt how to import a CSV or Excel file? Anyone कोई डाउट्स हैं कि कैसे इंपोर्ट करते हैं कोलैब सेशन में फाइल और डेटा सेट को? Anyone? Okay, no doubts. Hello, am I audible? Okay, okay, okay. So, so after this, sorry, time बचा नहीं है, so I'll complete it in a जल्दी जल्दी complete कर देंगे इसको. Next is we have matplotlib. So matplotlib is basically comprehensive low-level library for creating static, animated, and interactive visualization in Python. So अगर आपको अपने अपनी अभी तक जो भी हम करे थे हम जो भी एनालिसिस करे थे हम, if you want to depict it or show it visually, अगर आपको ग्राफ बनाने हैं, आपको है ना पाई चार्ट्स बनाना है, you can do it with this library called matplotlib. So अगर आपको अपने डेटा को विजुअली दिखाना है तो you can use matplotlib. So as मैंने ऊपर बताया था कैसे we can use pd.read CSV, अपना path copy करके इधर डाल दो, and your data set will be imported here. Now this is an actual data frame. Okay, this is an actual data frame. You can see it, actual data frame, and it has 891 rows and 12 columns. Okay, 891 rows and 12 columns. This is the actual data set. I'm using the same information about the data set की कितने normal values हैं, what's the data type of each column. That is that. DF.describe, I've already explained it. कि आपको statistical analysis देता है. Basically आपको statistical analysis देता है अपने data set के ऊपर. So all of these column names are basically your numerical columns. int 64 और floating point integers, जो भी column इसमें int और float है data type, उसका पूरा आपको count, mean, minimum value, maximum value, the average value in all of these columns describe दे देगा आपको. Next is how to import matplotlib. So you can import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Similar plt हम alias use कर रहे हैं, shortcut है. .pyplot क्यों use कर रहे हैं? Basically inside this .pyplot we all this pyplot के अंदर पूरे graphs हैं आपके. We have bar graph, we have scatter plot, we have pie chart. जो भी graphs हैं matplotlib library के अंदर, it is inside this pyplot function. Okay. After this, after importing matplotlib, how to, first of all हमारे पास charts होते हैं. Okay, bar chart, scatter plot, histogram. We have many things. Okay, first is bar plot. Okay, now we can see here key in the survived column. So in the survived column, you can see that I'm accessing the survived column. df3 survive dot value counts. So dot value counts, as you know, कि कितने number of लोग survive हुए नहीं हुए. So it will sum it. Okay, total count बना देगा उसका. Totally count कर लेगा जितने भी लोग survive हुए हैं. Okay. Now after this, I have stored this in a survival variable, and I have used plt.bar. So this bar function basically create a bar chart, and inside this bar function, you can see I have used two parameters. First one is survival.index, the second one is survival.values. Basically survival basically ये है अपना जो भी total count हम निकाले थे survived column में से has been stored in survival, and first index is survival.index. मतलब survival.index मतलब जो भी labels हैं वो यहाँ पे हम पास कर रहे हैं survival के अंदर. जो भी labels हैं जैसे कि if you can see here survived में we have 0 और 1. Okay, 0 1 0 1 मतलब 0 मतलब the passenger has not survived and 1 मतलब the passenger has survived. So basically जो भी labels हैं इधर वो आपको बोलेगा. So survival.index मतलब it has two values 0 and 1, and now we have survival.values. Survival.values क्या करेगा? Basically show करेगा कि 0 में कितने लोग मरे और मतलब 0 में कितने लोग हैं और 1 में कितने लोग हैं. Okay, index का मतलब 0 and 1, survive not survived. Survival.values क्या करेगा? Basically 0 में 0 मतलब 0 में कितने लोग हैं और 1 के corresponding कितने लोग हैं. So if you use this plt.show, plt.bar में ये सब डालने के बाद if you use this plt.show, you will get a bar plot like this. So we can see that you can see that this much amount of people have survived, then this much have not survived. Okay, so basically आपको comparison दे रहा है ये कि कितने लोग survive हुए कितने लोग survive नहीं हुए. Okay, next is, so basically we have to use bar plot if you're comparing something. Okay, bar plot you use होता है if you want to compare. Next is we have similar to similar हम embarked column में अब हम करने वाले हैं. Embarked is कौन सा embarked? This one. Embarked is this. We have many classes, I think. S, C, S. Okay. So if I want same, I am doing the dot value counts. I'm calculating the total number of people in embarked. Then I'm using plt.py, simple. Inside this function, I'm doing the same. I'm embarked.values. It will give you the total number of people in each class. You could say S, Q, C. We have three number of embarked values. So I have used labels. This labels is another parameter. Inside this label, you have to pass your index. Index मतलब आपका basically ये हुआ Q, C और S. ये जो representation है, it is due to this embark.index. और ये जो proportions है, जो percentages इसने बनाया है, it is due to embark.values. Okay. just show it plt.show, you will get your pie chart. So now we have histogram. Histogram basically क्या करता है, आपके डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन शो करता है कि एक कॉलम में what is the distribution, what's the distribution, okay? So df3 of age dot draw pending. First of all, what am I doing is हिस्टोग्राम फंक्शन के अंदर जितनी भी नल वैल्यूज हैं, एज कॉलम में जितने भी नल वैल्यूज हैं, सॉरी एज कॉलम में जितनी नल वैल्यूज ड्रॉप कर दिया मैंने. दिस plt.x लेबल, y लेबल और टाइटल, ये बस बेसिकली शोइंग के वास्ते, मतलब it our graph should look better. इसके वास्ते if you can see here in the x axis you can see the age of passengers that I've written here. In the y axis you can see y-axis number of passengers are there. So I have used this, and the title, which is the age distribution, I have used plt.title. So you can change it to anything and just use show. So you can see that in this whole data set, what's the distribution of ages. Right? There are around 175 people of age 20. There are around 30 around there are 150 people of age around 30 or around 40. How many number of passengers were there? Okay. Now finally we have scatter plot. Basically it will give you the relationship between two columns. So if I want a relationship between two columns, age and fair, if I want a relationship between age column and the fair column, okay, uh, what's it what's the relation between these two columns? I can use the plt.scatter, and these are just for betterment of let's say your आपके पास आपके ग्राफ को अच्छे दिखाने का वास्ता है ये plt.x label y label. If you want to skip, you can also skip it. Okay, just for show कि at x axis क्या है हमारे पास, at y axis what is there, और title क्या है ये. So if you just use this, you can see that at age 40 this data point में इतना फेयर दिया, या फिर at around 60 age कितना फेयर दिया उस पैसेंजर ने. So this is all about matplotlib. These are the basic matplotlib graphs that you have to go through once. So okay, anyone कोई doubts matplotlib में? Anyone? Hello, any doubts? Sorry, थोड़ा लास्ट में फास्ट करना पड़ा since time does not permit last में. Okay, so yeah, the session has ended. Okay.